All right, so let's learn how Trump can win 3 Nobel Prizes, keeping in mind the origin of the Nobel Prize and the family behind it, and its ligature to the Rothschild banking empire, because that's how the Nobels became the Rockefellers of Europe over there. And then we're going to go to Trump launches shock crypto coin, skyrockets to billions and billions over the weekend. So it's still going up probably because he's getting inaugurated tomorrow. So I'm not saying to buy it. I don't buy it. I don't care about it. But we're going to put it in a time capsule because the dude did a crazy thing again. And it's just like him working at McDonald's. All right. And then we'll get back to deal with more of the globalists because they still be a common globalisms. Globalists going to globalist. That's what they do. And then we'll get to that after we cover the coin and his Nobel Prize coins.
Incoming President Donald Trump seems on the brink of inking a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. Could be Nobel Peace Prize worthy, according to Professor Robert Goldstein, astrophysicist at Princeton University, who earlier this week had a really provocative and fascinating column over at Fox News called, we can put this element up on the screen here, called How Donald Trump Can Make History and Win 3 Nobel Peace Prizes. And now, to be clear, Professor Goldstein was not saying that simply getting a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel would make him eligible for that Peace Prize. There's more that he would have to do on that. But I think it's interesting to walk through the 3 different Nobel Peace Prizes that you believe he could actually legitimately be in line for because of the historical conditions in which he's coming into office, and also the through line between all 3 of them. So let's start with the one in the Mideast, since that's the one that approximately is going on right now. Were you surprised that he was able to get this breakthrough over the last couple of days? And then what steps have to happen after this to make it enduring enough for the Nobel Committee to say, you know what, this guy, who they probably all despise, just from a cultural perspective, deserves a Nobel Peace Prize?
Well, so all indications are that President-elect Trump, I guess we should say in this context, put some pressure on Netanyahu to agree to some of the last bits of this deal. And, his, I think, general philosophy is peace through strength. And, his claim that all hell will pay seems to have, so to speak, paid off. But there's 2 more stages in this deal that's going to have to be gone through. Well, let's hope by the time this is broadcast, the first stage has been signed off. So there's more to be done. And then ultimately, the real big issue is the situation in Iran. That Iran is right on the brink of nuclear weapons. So we need a new comprehensive deal that pulls Iran back from the brink, which we think we could do. I think we could do if we make an arrangement with them where they can make enriched uranium for their reactors, but they never go above, say, 4 or 5% enrichment, so it's just not usable for a bomb. That puts them in a situation where they get what they've explicitly said they wanted, and they don't get what they had said they don't want, which is a bomb. We can put verification measures in. I've actually done some of the research on this, but me and many others. But you can put verification measures in place to be sure that they're just making uranium for their reactors. Then you say, what's the deal on the other side? And it's clear that if we're going to move forward these Abraham Accords, we need to have a plan for a demilitarized Palestinian state. But that has to go through stages, and that has to get strong verification, strong controls that it stays demilitarized. And that would be a deal that would settle the Middle East. You wouldn't have the threat of the Iranian nuclear weapons, and you wouldn't have this continuous problem. Hamas, wanted to take over all of Israel, and some of the right-wingers in Israel would like to expel the Arabs. And so, nobody's going to get everything they want. But we could have a situation where maybe even Iran joins the Abraham Accords. And this, I think, gets President Trump a Nobel Prize.
And before you go to that, just want to be clear to the audience that you're just kind of not like just a random scientist putting out political ideas. Like your entire career has been in the field of kind of nuclear policy and nuclear proliferation, and so like you were saying, you've done a lot of the research on how it is now possible for countries to verify in a serious way, what whether other countries are living up to the deals that they strike, without also then giving away nuclear information back to their adversaries, and that is a through line for all three of these. But go ahead, you were saying.
Well, Professor, just in the last 24 hours, we have actually an interview with the president of Iran and Lester Holt on NBC Nightly News. We have a clip of that we want to roll now. Let's go ahead and play this.
One potential threat to diplomacy could be seen as what the U.S. believes was Iran's plan to assassinate Donald Trump. Was there such a plan?
All the assassinations and acts of terror that we see happening in Europe and elsewhere, can we see the footsteps of Iranian nationals or other foreign nationals? Have there been any links between those terrorist assassinations and Iran? Iran has never been in pursuit of assassination and acts of terror.
You're saying there was never an Iranian plot to kill Donald Trump?
Never, by no means.
Are you willing to promise that there will be no attempt on the life of Donald Trump?
Ever since the beginning, we never intended to do that.
Okay, so
Not the most persuasive.
Yes, he promised to Lester Holt. So, Professor, you obviously.
I won't promise I have technology, or we in the United States have technology to assure that they won't do that.
Right. So it would be enormously provocative for him to go on NBC Nightly News and just say, hell yeah, we want to kill the guy. That would be absurd and never happen. On the other hand, Donald Trump doesn't want to look like he's making a deal with people who want to kill him. And when I think about the way Donald Trump approaches some of this, even just seeing how the ceasefire negotiations are transpiring right now, he doesn't want to be humiliated. He doesn't want America to be humiliated. He doesn't want to be personally humiliated. Could you talk to us just a little bit about even the psychology or the politics of a negotiation with Donald Trump, whether it's Iran or Israel, Gaza, on these three potential Nobel Peace Prizes, which we also psychologically know would be very appealing to him indeed. What is the leverage if you're Iran? What is the leverage if you're on the other side of the table from Donald Trump in any of these three scenarios?
Well, I think right now Iran is at a low point in its strength and in its influence in that area. With what happened with Hezbollah, what happened with Hamas, what will probably eventually happen with the Houthis. The Iranians are facing a situation where they are weak. And Donald Trump has an air force that can destroy their nuclear program. That's my sense, is that Donald Trump likes to negotiate from strength, and he likes to actually, in a way, not make clear what he's doing, which is an interesting approach and seems to have worked, right? At least hopefully seems to have worked with the Israelis and Hamas. So I think it puts him in a not bad position to say, here's a deal that gets you what you want and prevents you from getting a bomb, which you said you don't want. And if you don't take it, they'll be hell to pay.
And so let's go to this. Let's go to the second one then. And which one would you call a second? Europe or the comprehensive deal? I'd say Europe is kind of makes the most sense to talk about next.
Yeah, I think so. Then we go to the biggest picture.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So where do you see the possibility of a Nobel Peace Prize in Europe and Ukraine?
Well, obviously, there's been horrible death going on in Ukraine, actually on both sides, and it's crazy. Where it comes from ultimately is that if Ukraine were to join NATO and NATO were to station missiles in Ukraine, then there'd be a situation where Ukraine, or NATO from Ukraine, could mount a decapitating, they call it, nuclear strike.
I ain't talking to you, bro. Cause I got money now, that don't matter. All I hear is since that check came in. I love it when you talk to me.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. In the saddest, single most expensive sleep of everyone's life, Donald Trump announced his meme coin last night at approximately 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those who were awake and were ready to rock just made a fortune. Donald Trump posting this 12 hours ago. My new official meme is here. Time to celebrate everything that stands for winning. Get your Trump coin now. Get Trump memes. Here it is. This is the official Donald Trump meme page. You can buy with crypto. Here's the address. It's a Solana contract address. This is Solana is the chain that is on, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the tokenomics of the coin themselves. And so this is real. I mean, everybody thought, wait a second, did Trump get hacked? You know, did something bad happen? Is this, you know, sometimes people hack accounts and then they push meme coins, right? Or they push different crypto projects. This is something that typically happens with a hack, but nope. Ladies and gentlemen, this is completely real. Gary Gensler watching Donald Trump launch a meme coin hours after he leaves the SEC. Yeah, a lot of people are making a lot of money on this thing, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Trump meme coin smashes $25 billion market cap. Trump's official meme coin soared past $25 billion, cementing his place among the biggest cryptocurrencies in the world. Massive trading volume and unstoppable momentum. Trump is rewriting the crypto playbook all days before the inauguration. Whew, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, people are making a lot of money in this. Here we go. A guy bought $1 million into Trump immediately after it went public at 18 cents. Now it's worth $150 million. Woof. Trump's kids, by the way, getting into it. The crypto ball was last night. By the way, this was the ball hosted by David Sachs, who is the crypto czar for the Trump administration. You should follow him. Trump administration crypto czar David Sachs. The reign of terror against crypto is over, and the beginning of innovation for American crypto is ready to begin. This is Eric Trump promoting that and promoting the sort of Trump brand crypto, World Liberty Fi. The Trump brand crypto platform. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue. Trump hitting an all-time high of 30. This just happened minutes ago. Now sitting at $30 billion valuation. I've never seen anything like this before in crypto. Thing is an absolute nuke. Everybody getting in on that beautiful Trump inauguration energy. If you bought Trump meme coin 3 hours ago, you've outperformed the S&P since 1980. The more I think about it, Trump was a thankful gift to the crypto community. He launched this meme coin at 10 p.m. on a Friday night before his inauguration during the crypto ball in D.C. Due to the timing, it's not listed on any of the real friendly apps. Only crypto natives really got it. There you go. So what just happened? At 10 p.m. on Friday night, Trump launches the biggest crypto meme coin in history. Since then, the coin is up nearly 10,000%, with $2.2 billion volume traded under 12 hours. What does this all mean? The initial launch of the coin was hard to believe. When it came with skepticism, people thought that his account was hacked. However, no statement from hack surfaced and the coin kept rising. At a little after midnight, Trump broke above $10 and actually accelerated rapidly. In fact, not even Elon Musk was sure that Donald Trump's account had been hacked. Nearly 12 hours later, it was clear that the coin was legitimately launched by Trump. This is a screenshot of Elon going, I don't know. In the early hours, traders were making unprecedented returns on the swings. In the first 2 hours, one trader made $50,000 into nearly 1.1 million. The coin, Trump, outperformed the S&P 500's 30-year run in the first 2 hours, and is still rising as we speak. For example, $100 invested in the S&P in 1994 would be worth $2,500 today. But that's a 2,000% return. The Trump coin returned 4,000% in 4 hours after launch. So, well, brave new world we're living in. And the most important to note that 20% of the maximum supply is currently on the market. This means the supply currently stands at 200 million coins. Over the next 36 months, the remaining 800 million coins can enter supply. It is believed that Trump holds those 800 million. Woof. So Donald Trump has billions of dollars worth of Trump coin. This explains the market cap versus the fully diluted valuation. If the total supply of 1 billion is circulating right now, total market cap would be 21 billion. But since only 200 million out of the 1 billion coins are circulating, the market cap is 4.2 billion, actually, because they're limiting the supply. This is typical in tokenomics. The question is, can demand keep up with the remaining 80% of the supply in the market? Here's the Trump coin emission schedule, which shows a maximum supply to be reached. Skeptics say that this will send.
All right, I'm not sure. This looks like, is this the coin here from today? Can't see if this is the new thing or the old thing.
I can't see
because
your
I read
screen.
about Forbes and everyone saying it crashed, right? So it went way up. It looks like it went way up. Everyone took their profit, and then it crashed a little bit, and then it's going up again.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. It's kind of funny. So
That's the point.
I had a very interesting day. I was on my way north, and I wrecked my car today. I think it's still on the screen share, LD. I don't know.
I got it right here.
Anyway, no. I was saying, oh well, yeah, there you go. So, well, actually, I'll be quiet.
Here's another one, and then this is the last one where he's Survivor.
Yes. Kentucky snowstorm got me unexpectedly. Yeah, I was driving north and I did not expect snow, and it was long. Anyway, everybody's fine. I'm fine. It's all good. But yeah, so I kind of wrecked my truck and but I was able to drive it home. Luckily, veered off
Give
the
them
road.
the play-by-play so they can learn from the situation.
Well, yeah, and this is going to get to the Trump coin thing, actually. So this is the prequel to the Trump coin saga. So basically, I was driving north and early this morning and did not expect snow at all. So the snow just came out of nowhere, just flurries, like a blizzard just kicked in. All of a sudden, snow all over the road. I just got in the right-hand lane, very, very studiously and very slowly, just going probably 40. Several other cars, around me. And I was just going. All of a sudden, I felt like just kind of wiggle a little bit, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I regained control, and I had control. I felt like the tires got back under me, and then all of a sudden, it just goes whoosh, and then just takes off, does a full 180, goes. And I was in the far right lane, and then it goes off to the side, boom, lands on the driver's side just like that, and then somehow lands back on all four tires. And then at that point, I should have pulled off to the side of the road, put it in four-wheel drive, and then kept going. I have a manual, so, when I go to put it in four-wheel drive while I'm driving, it just starts beeping at me and it doesn't engage. So I think I have to pull over, do the clutch, put it in four-wheel drive, boom. Anyway, should have done that, but I didn't. And so anyway, once I was in the ditch, I was able to put it in four-wheel drive and get my way back up onto the interstate, and was able to get to the next exit, called the police, state trooper came. He said, "Yeah, I got a Tacoma too, man. They're great trucks," and examined it and basically said, normally I wouldn't let you leave, but I'm just going to take off. And if, whatever you decide to do after that, feel free. So all the windows are busted out. I don't know if you saw. So, rear window, driver's side windows were busted out. Windshield was okay. And the passenger windows were okay. But yeah, I had to bundle up. It was a cold drive home. I was about an hour away from my house. And, it was a lesson learned. And as I was driving back, I saw lots of other wrecks that looked way worse than mine. And so just every step of the way, it was a miraculous situation. So I'm very, very grateful.
I'm sure those cops were busy, and that's why he's like,
Yep.
we don't need to do business right now.
Yeah, so it was so it was fine. It was fine. But anyway, so it's all good. I have to deal with some fallout from that in the morning. So anyway, I gotta go. But anyway, all that to say, so I got home and I was adrenaline drained. I was just I just laid in my bed. And I'd heard about this Trump coin last night, and I remember looking at it, and it was I don't know what it was. It was around $20 or something, maybe. Picked up my phone, I was curious, and I looked at it, and it was $60. I'm like, So I laid there in bed, and I was like, okay, how do I get this damn coin? And I was I literally spent all afternoon trying to figure out how to do it. Basically, somebody else, I think, has registered with my phone number because it won't let me get past the phone number verification. So anyway, so whatever. I've tried to email their support. They won't let me. But what happened, though, is as I was doing this, I witnessed it. So it was at $70 per Trump coin. All of a sudden, it went down to 20, upper 20s, low 30s. I was like, oh, shit. what is going on here? And then I saw reports on Twitter that Melania had released her own coin. So there was the Melania coin had just came out. So what had happened was, so everyone was like, oh, is this Trump thing going to be a rug pull? Is he really going to have the balls to do a rug pull? Or are they going to rug pull it? But here's what happened, you guys. And I watched this all in real time and then I was like, oh shit, I got to create a Melania account. I was like, I got to get in. I pulled up the Melania it was on Uniswap, the Uniswap app. I first started doing it. It was like 0.001 penny. I got the drop on it right away. When the Melania thing came out, I was like 0.001, and I was trying to, and it was Ethereum. It was Ethereum and Solana, which the Trump one is on the Solana network. So I have some Ethereum, so I shot it over to my Uniswap wallet, and I was trying to get the Melania coin, and it was at 0.01, and then it got up to 1 penny. Got all the way up to 70 cents while I was watching it. You know what I mean? So I had and I couldn't, it was like network congestion. It said retry. It said all this crap. Like I could not get the transaction.
Sorry,
to go
you
through.
can't sell till everyone else sells.
No, I was trying to buy. I was trying to buy it with the Ethereum I had in the wallet.
Right.
And it said like network congestion. And then it said,
I thought you had it from a fraction of a penny, went up to 70 cents, and you're like, oh, I want out, and it won't let you out.
no, I was trying to buy in. I had it up below a penny. I was trying to buy in at every step of the way, and I'm watching it go up. But so what happened is that all the people, because the Trump coin's on the Solana network, and you can buy Melania on the Solana network. So I think what happened is as soon as the Melania coin dropped, people cashed out their Trump coin and immediately swapped over to the Melania coin when it was below a penny. And then that skyrocketed. And then they rug pulled the Melania coin. So that's what happened, is that everybody jumped their profits from and that's what made the Trump coin drop. Jumped over to Melania, pumped, and then dumped the Melania coin. So I was like watching the whole damn thing happen while I'm laying in bed, trying to like have an easy, relaxing, non-cortisol day. And I'm trying to be a millionaire. Damn it, nothing's happening. It's not working. But anyway, so I just pretty much gave up. So I'm like, whatever, dude. Well, maybe it's not meant to be. I just need to
what was meant to be is that your truck rolled back on its tires. And you could get out of that situation, because a lot of people in those situations, when they roll their truck, then it doesn't come back up on their wheels and they're hanging upside down. And the fact that your truck was strong enough that your cab didn't collapse, right? It just broke some windows, right? It was a cold ride, but you're alive and you didn't die from that. And like those accidents, when you lose traction like that, they're no fun. They're no carnival ride.
Exactly. And trust me, I've been giving prayers of thanks all day long. I feel very, very grateful for that whole situation. And I know for a fact that, some God was carrying me through, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I felt very grateful. And so I think I used up all my luck on that, and there was none left for the Trump coin or the Melania coin.
That's right. You don't need the luck there, man.
I know, dude. I'm feeling good, really good. And here's another tip too that I learned. So, handyman, I got all my tools in the back seat. So I had a lot of loose items in the back thing.
I was just about to ask what wasn't.
Yep. And I was packed for this trip I was going on. So, I had lots of stuff in my car. I was planning on doing my show from a hotel tonight, right? I was got a whole thing going on, but having to reevaluate that whole situation. But anyway, so, and then I also, typical guy, I have like knives stashed everywhere. I have like a big old marine issue knife right in the center console side sticking there. I had some like under the passenger seat in case I had to reach over there or something. Anyway, I remember seeing in slow motion, because how everything goes into slow motion. Like as the car was like going like this, I saw like that marine knife just kind of came out of its sheath and just kind of floating around by me. I'm like, fuck. And then afterwards, I have this big like Alaska like a big thick, it goes like this, like the big thick blade. I can't remember what they're called. It goes like that, right? Yeah. Underneath the passenger seat. That was laying right behind me on this side. So it had traveled across like that. And I'm like, so there's knives flying through the freaking car. I'm like, okay, no loose knives in the car anymore, folks.
Well, no loose ones. You have to attach them. So I'm going to get you some Molly panels for the back of your seats. And then everything straps on with Velcro. And next time you roll your truck and survive, stuff won't be coming to try to kill you inside the cab.
I know. Well, it was literally like that, dude. I got so lucky today, man. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you a video it's snowing outside when I do the plowing and stuff tomorrow. I'll show you like this is. I mean, I'm sure I have some stuff that if I rolled my cab, it would bounce around too. I have a fire extinguisher and stuff in there, but it is kind of like Velcroed down to something sturdy, right?
Yeah.
But best laid plans of mice and men do oft go awry. That's why it's good to have like God as your co-pilot, Jesus as your co-pilot. What's that?
Dude.
To get the little happy Jesus, buddy
Yeah.
Jesus, buddy Jesus for your dashboard is what we're gonna get you to.
Dude. Yep. I got the armor of God on me, dude. I'm invincible.
You got a
It's
ring of Jesus
crazy.
fire, like Ice Cube
Totally.
and Three Kings.
I'm not even joking, man. Like I felt it today. I'm like, yes. It was awesome. It's powerful to be a part of something, a miracle, right? There you go.
It's powerful to be staying alive.
Dude,
All right.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, I know it was Pfizer. I really like you. We know the same people that run Pfizer control the weather, and I know they were just trying to take me out. And it's like you're gonna have to try a lot harder than that. Pfizer.
Hey, you live in
Still
Tennessee. Did you have like all season tires on there?
I got brand new tires recently. Yes.
Yeah?
I had brand new tires. Yeah. Yeah. They're nice tires. So I think they're all season. I don't know. They're nice tires. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Sometimes no matter what your tires are, the road is too slippery for car.
yeah,
you know?
it just didn't. Yep. They got me. Yeah.
Well,
But I'm still kicking. And I do have to wake up first thing in the morning to try to put my life back together. I have a tow truck appointment and a rental car appointment.
hey man, it's admirable that you just made the show.
That's
you're
what I'm saying, dude.
You're like, I'm gonna wreck, but I'm gonna be there. And you weren't even late. You were like exactly on time. I'm like, you're overperforming right now, bro.
I just wanted to come and be like, yo, this is how we roll. Autonomy,
Yeah.
baby. You can't
we
stop
only
me.
need excellence. We don't need perfection, man. You're unstoppable. You're allowed to be late. You're allowed to leave early. And getting your, before they tow your truck, make sure you empty all your stuff out of it.
I've already done that, but I just
Takes
remembered
time
I need to get
fix.
I need to get my license plate because it's the original unjected mobile. I have the unjected Tennessee license plate, so I got to go grab that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You're not going to need it. It's not going to be driving on the road by itself. All right. So switching gears, we're going from the deep state stories to the expansion of the deep state stories because we're going to cover the Greenland and Gulf of America part right here. And then also Trump announces plan to annex Canada. Now, these first two clips are comedy. They're JP and Babylon B. So I'm just going to foreshadow that. They're not really the coverage of it because they haven't done anything but talk yet. And then I went back and found something older than the Patrick Wood video, right? That was me from 10 years ago. I went and found TruthStream Media from 11 years ago, and I pulled two clips that are about Agenda 21 and all this technocracy that we're learning about tonight because they're still doing it. What do you think that smart city in LA is all about? You got to clear land in order to develop it. All right, so we're going to learn about the Greenland, Canada, not Panama in this clip, but also how old is Agenda 21? Because they might have been trying to do this type of thing that they're doing right now for a long time. And that would show what Gatto called the ominous continuity, generation to generation of handing off these plans of they, them, those who consider themselves your betters, right? Your owners, your masters, if you will. They run your plantation until you are savvy enough to escape. So let's go escape with JP, the Babylon Bee, and TruthStream Media.
Renaming of the renaming of the Gulf of Mexico into the Gulf of America, that chess move has gone right over everyone's heads. It's chess, people. Trump is playing chess. The colostomy bag in chief, that senile old put a ban on offshore drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. Easy workaround, rename it the Gulf of America. We ain't drilling for oil in the Gulf of Mexico. We're drilling for oil in the Gulf of America, bitches. That's how that one works. You clear that thing in ocean, I don't care because there's no more around. Stock the Gulf of America full of fish, capture Cuba, sink that thing, control the Bahamas and Hawaii, blow up Haiti, annex South Carolina to North Carolina on the Gulf Coast. No more hurricanes on Mexico's front lawn because we ain't playing checkers no more. People thought Trump was rough the first go around. This time there is no more around. We don't give a flying what names the liberals call us. This is called getting it done, drinking beer, kicking some ass, and fixing problems. And people saying, oh, you can't just take the Panama. We can't just take the Panama Canal. We built the We could sure as fill it back in if we wanted to. Jimmy Carter gave that thing away. I did not know what a miserable piece of Jimmy Carter was. So yeah, buying the Panama Canal, we ain't buying We ain't buying Greenland, we ain't buying the Panama Canal, and we sure as ain't buying Canada. Do you think Greenland wants to be part of Africa where they treat them like Those are good people in Greenland. Do you know how strong those 4-foot people are over there? They are tough motherfuckers, killing whales with brass knuckles and turning them into grilled cheese. They want to be Americans. So yeah, we're taking Greenland, and we're going to take back the Panama Canal, and we're going to take back the Canada Canal. And you know what what? We're also going to take back the moon. Trump's going to pull that skyrock right into American airspace so those greasy little communists in China can't even look at it. No more games. Charge them a 500% tariff if they want to look at it. And you know what? Charge them a tariff if they even think about wanting to look at it. The moon has an American flag on it, so ain't nobody else's other than ours. We're going to offer freedom to the people of Greenland, the people of Canada, and the people of the Panama Canal. We're going to give them actual rights and actual gloves instead of gay mittens. That's the deal. No more mittens. That's why we don't need to buy because we're offering them the one thing that the rest of the world can't offer them. Freedom, actual rights, and the American dream. That's how you play chess, people. Welcome to Trump's America. Welcome to the Republic. Oh, and people of Canada, people of Greenland, howdy, cause welcome. Wipe your feet at the door and come on in. It's great.
Good evening and welcome to the evening news this evening. Just moments ago, President-elect Donald Trump announced plans to annex Canada and rename it Gay North Dakota. The surprise announcement comes as Justin Trudeau announces his resignation from the Canadian Prime Ministership, presumably to make way for an American governorship. The pair had previously met back in November at the president's resort home at Mar-a-Lago. The pair had been expected to discuss Trump's tariff plans, but somehow ended with Trump agreeing to absorb Canada as the 51st State of the Union. His one demand, though, is that Canada be renamed to something very homosexual. Trump said in a press conference, "It'll be a wonderful addition to our country, Gay North Dakota. It's large, very large, a lot of trees and meese. Everyone says the plural of moose is moose, but they're wrong, it's meese. But we can't keep calling it Canada or people will think it's a real country. So we're gonna call it Gay North Dakota. It's just like North Dakota, only much larger and gayer. Very, very gay. Not that I have a problem with the gays, I love the gays, but frankly, Canada is tremendously gay." Alternative names have been floated, such as Gay Minnesota, the Forgotten Realms, and the land that hasn't won the Stanley Cup since 1993. Trump is still insisting it has to be Gay North Dakota, though many Canadians remain unconvinced.
I mean, the whole thing is offensive, not about being gay, but just being called North Dakotan.
I'm sorry. What exactly are you sorry for? I don't know. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry.
The Trump camp is bullish over the move. As Donald Trump Jr. stated, they'll go along with it. We're offering them the opportunity to finally become Americans, which is what they've always wanted. They'll be nice about it because they're Canadians. Or should I say, gay North Dakotans. It's not all hostile, though. Trump has offered Justin Trudeau a leadership role which would make Trudeau the first female governor of gay North Dakota. Coming up, Trump announces his plan to deport over 5,000 illegal immigrants in just one Honda Civic hatchback simultaneously. Good evening, Sunday evening.
Welcome to CigarPage.com, the independent American-owned home of the free.
So I came across this old newsreel, Our Changing City, 1963, and it begs the question, how long has Agenda 21 been around for? We see plenty of examples in this newsreel film of how they force austerity onto our lifestyles while further compacting us into the city, at the same time pointing to the city as part of the problem.
Yes, we love the opportunities and excitement of the city. But there is another side to this picture. As our cities grow, our problems grow. What has happened to our cities? Have they grown from the small crossroads towns of 150 years ago? There was a long period when towns grew slowly. Perhaps down near the river a factory was built. The town grew. A ring of residences circled the central business and industry. Things got too crowded and industry leapfrogged to the outskirts. People built their homes still farther out. Small business followed along some of the main streets. A few well-to-do people who began to feel crowded built homes in the suburbs and in the country. By 1920, more people lived in cities than lived in rural areas. And during the next 10 years, they continued to flock in. During the 30s, there was little change. But after World War II, the cities didn't just grow, they exploded. Because the change has been so great and so rapid, it has created enormous problems that affect the way we live. The most immediate problem was where to put all these new families.
In the next clip, we see clearly what they're driving at is a push for super-regional government is recommended as a way of dealing with the complexities of the city.
The problem of planning is enormous. There may be a city government here, and here, and here. There is a county government here, school districts here, water districts here. Each has different needs which it guards jealously. No metropolitan area has been able to work out plans to solve more than a fraction of its problems. One great question is the best way to use the land itself.
And so we see the suggestion that the diffusion of power, that the decentralization of power is part of the problem of managing cities. And then in the next clip, you see direct calls for more power for the planners.
We need the city. We want its fun, its excitement and crowds, its arts and culture, its change and activity. But after the fun, let's not retreat into our homes and try to disregard the problems. Each metropolitan area can bring order to the sprawl, but not where dozens of small districts are working each in its own interest. We must learn to work together to plan our huge communities. We can rehabilitate the decaying core of our cities.
With the power to plan the mega city area comes greater power for greater managers of government overall, and it's a way of infiltrating state and local government.
Where 2/3 of us have chosen to live. Do we have the will to remake the city into a place that will enrich our lives?
And it's a way of infusing federal power into local and regional government as well as state government decisions. A key example of this is in just one phase of the America 2050 plan from a Planners Association group that's associated with Agenda 21, and they show you their three-phase plan for high-speed rail, all connected with America's new great mega regions, where they plan to double current populations in nearly every city and connect it together in different regions that match the FEMA regions that manage this country. And a lot of this planning is funded through the HUD and EPA grants that work together with the Department of Transportation to create a more centralized America where power lays in the hands of the feds, of planners, and of the bankers who have so much money and so much control. So I came across.
Imagine living in the 1950s and dreaming about the fantastical achievements that humanity would realise by 2025, then watching this.
The big 1000 was completely done. The room was absolutely full. Then we did groups of 5, like one after the other of 5s. I wanted to give people more time, so then it went down to like one-on-ones, didn't it? So like one person would watch whilst I was with somebody, and then it would literally just be like a rotating circle like that.
That's it, that's your fantastical achievement. Being a receptacle for over 1,000 dudes in a single day.
I don't need a wheelchair, like I am fine. Just feels like I've had a heavy day in the bedroom, which is exactly what I've had. I think if it had continued how it did for the first sort of 3-4 hours, I would have struggled.
Let's get a round of applause in the room, people.
A physical accomplishment to rival and surpass mankind's greatest endeavours. Roger Bannister's sub 4-minute mile. Edmund Hillary's ascension of Mount Everest. Felix Baumgartner's world record space jump. Nothing compared to Bonnie Blue's world record of sleeping with 1,057 men in just 12 hours. She can't have got much sleep.
I think my longest break was 3 minutes yesterday, and I took 4 breaks in total.
Commentator Alex Phillips, who caused controversy after claiming that mass migration was exacerbating sexual harassment of women in the UK.
When I walk down the street, I'm increasingly being leered at. I'm increasingly being followed like I'm going around the souks of Morocco. And it's not, visibly to me anyway, people who were born and bred here. It isn't.
And was later, of course, proven completely correct. Responded to Blue by asserting, quote, "We really need to have a conversation about how women like this are contributing to a dangerous perception of white women among other communities." A salient point, given that many have noticed the men taking part in Blue and her pal Lily Phillips' stunts appear to be, well, let's just say, quite diverse.
Don't be picked up. Join the video and be picked up.
She definitely seems to have a type.
I'm asking politely.
Nah, it's not polite enough.
Please, Daddy.
When this point was put to Blue directly during an Instagram live stream, she seemed a bit uncomfortable about it.
How many Indian guys?
Quite a specific question, that. We don't really track race, so unsure.
I don't know. I had one guy from Turkey, I remember that, because he was asking me to guess where I was from. You look sad. No, I'm just reading your comments.
The fact that Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips' stunts are attracting so much attention at the same time as outrage is spiralling over the mass grooming and sexual commodification of young white girls in the UK is also an extremely disturbing parallel. Alex Phillips, within an hour of posting that tweet, was predictably smeared as a racist.
This is a story that had absolutely nothing to do with race.
But hit back by pointing out the blindingly obvious observation that porn culture seems to be largely dominated by white blonde girls. Interesting, isn't it, how it's the one industry, at least on the female side, where there's not much of an outcry over the lack of diversity. So I've had Scott Mannion on my podcast. I've been on his show, he's a mate, and he's done the hard yards with his YouTube channel. That's it, simple as. Now back to the video. Prostitution used to be nearly exclusively the domain of poor, desperate young women. Now, thanks to OnlyFans, prostitution has become a possible career choice for financially stable, upper-class women. It's extremely depressing and deeply terrifying to consider how many women in the latter camp have jumped at the chance to be hookers.
I told you girls, taking fluids for moisturiser was good for your skin.
I mean, we could ask, where's her husband? But after marrying her childhood sweetheart in 2022, Blue's decision to become a cam girl led to their divorce. The lesson being she may have got rich, but she's basically ruined her chances of ever finding true love. We could ask, where are the parents? Literally on the payroll.
Yeah, to start with, they was a bit gutted and was like, we wouldn't choose this for you.
Until the cash started rolling in.
If I ask them now, it's a complete different story.
Bonnie Blue is the latest manifestation of a horrendously damaging narrative, which indoctrinates a generation of young women into believing that fleeting notoriety and wealth is worth selling your body and soul for.
I think it really has changed my life.
When in reality, studies have shown the alarming high prevalence of depression and other mental health problems among female adult film performers, underscored by countless examples of female performers becoming victims of deaths of despair. For the vast majority of young women who will be influenced to follow Blue's example, this isn't a recipe for success and happiness. It's a one-way path to abject misery. Bonnie Blue, Lily Phillips and their OnlyFans ilk are pushing an incredibly harmful lifestyle choice. The commodification of utter degeneracy, and it's largely being directed at teenagers on TikTok.
It's the fact that you use terms like barely legal, but it's like the barely legal, that's what the media gave me.
No, you directly said it yourself.
I want to sleep with 130 barely legal 18-year-olds.
The Kuma mindset Blue and her ilk are pushing on men is literally damaging their brains, emptying their bank accounts and ruining their marriages, with her openly encouraging husbands to cheat on their wives.
We all talk about being happy and doing what's best for you, and if her isn't the best thing, then yeah, he needs to go elsewhere.
Rampant promiscuity used to be, rightly, something to be ashamed of because it was publicly shamed. Now our diseased society has glamorised it to the point where 1.4 million women in America alone are OnlyFans creators, and a staggering 82 million American men are OnlyFans subscribers. And while trapped in that Kuma Doom lifestyle, not a single one of them will ever be truly happy.
This woman divorced her husband and lost $850,000 by sending money to an AI-generated Brad Pitt. What? Yes, apparently a French woman was convinced to divorce her husband and use the money from the divorce to help an AI Brad Pitt. And the kicker is, these were the pictures that convinced her that she was talking to the real Brad Pitt in need. I am sorry, but the I love you picture where he has her name written, the scammers are really giving it all here. How did this work? Like, no wonder there's so many scammers out there when apparently it's this easy. Either way, they're the scum of the earth, and I wouldn't mind seeing them thrown in prison, but damn. Is it really that easy out here? That is the easiest heist ever. All it took them was like AI and a Photoshop, and they bagged $850,000?
Damn good deal.
That's insane. But it all started with this woman by the name of Anne who posted some holiday pictures on Instagram a couple of years ago. Then, the fake Brad Pitt's mom reached out to her saying that her son needed someone like Anne. Anne must have been overjoyed. I mean, Brad Pitt's mom thinks you belong together with Brad Pitt. Talk about fate. So the next thing you know, this fake Brad Pitt comes into the picture, showering her with love, poems, declarations, and even a video created by AI.
These selfies of Hollywood actor Brad Pitt in the hospital looking sick might fool someone at first glance. But look more closely and something's not quite right.
Oh, no. I mean, the face isn't even scaled correctly. There's no way. Come on. I guess to Anne, these photos and videos, that just proved that she was talking to the real Brad Pitt. And that apparently, clearly he's in the hospital, so he needed help.
Hey Anne, it's Brad. Est-ce que tu peux me... Can you send me some money? Love you, Moo. On the movie Brad Pitt, it's me.
Oh man, I mean it started with fake Brad asking her for about $9,000. And here's the kicker. And then when she sent the $9,000, the scammers, they didn't have enough. They couldn't leave it at that. They convinced, or fake Brad convinced, Anne to divorce her husband, which she did. It's safe to say that things escalated quickly when the scammers then convinced Anne that the fake Brad Pitt had kidney cancer and needed money for treatment because his accounts were blocked due to his divorce with Angelina Jolie. And guess what? Anne, who had received a settlement of 775,000 euros, which was about like $850,000 from her divorce, she ended up sending about almost all that money to the fake Brad Pitt. And this was all under a pretense of a loan. Yeah, I mean, she played herself. I would feel more sorry for her if she was single or maybe a widow. But divorcing your husband for AI Brad Pitt. Oh, no way. No, the meme came true. The meme came true. Guys, we got to take care of our women because apparently AI Brad Pitt is coming for him.
And worst of all, he could be any one of us. No, he could be in this very room. He could be you. It could be me.
This is so incredibly dystopian, and I feel like this is only the start of it here in 2025. It's safe to say we're going to have an interesting couple of years on this channel. So hey, if you are not subscribed, now's your opportunity to do so because we're just getting started over here. But why? Why?
Good, pull it. Similar story. Woman got conned out of a bunch of money by like AI, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for these people because,
yeah,
you know, they don't know any better, I guess.
Yep.
I don't think the scammers are cool. That's not a good thing.
No. No, I deal with that.
The memes were funny. Like the fact that she did not pick up on, like when you get deeper into the story, because there was a PBD clip. So basically they're texting back and forth and she's trying to get proof of life and stuff. She never, obviously meets Brad Pitt in person, but they approach her as Brad Pitt's mother. and they're like, hey, Brad, my son really should be with a woman like you or whatever. And that's how they start sucking her in. And then his divorce is plausible why he might need money. And then she saw him walking like at Cannes Film Festival with his new girlfriend. And then the scammers had to be like, no, that's not, you're our girl and all this stuff. And so the lady kept denying over and over and over. Oh, am I not on screen? Is that
No,
what's
you're good.
going
You're
on?
good. You're good. You're good.
All right, yeah.
We're good.
But throughout that whole escapade, that's going to continue to happen. And they can do it better and better. So just because they use some awfully Photoshop type of photos that everyone's laughing at, like they could deep fake voices, they could deep fake videos, they could show you, they could show that woman, the AI whistleblower. They're like, look, we have footage and here's your son doing it, right? They could totally just make that stuff up with the thing he was blowing the whistle on.
Oh yeah, totally. Like in the next few months, I mean, definitely in the next few years, next few months, like every single thing in our reality is going to be basically a construction that we can't even perceive or discern from actual reality. It's going to be a very interesting world that we're going to find ourselves in for sure.
We're gonna need
there's going to be
detectors.
Yeah, we're gonna need reality detectors. Yeah, there's people that will be left behind though in a lot of ways. Like there's certain generations ahead of us. I'm always thinking about like when I'm old. The crazy shit that they're gonna be scamming on me. I'll be like, oh, you just gotta set up a VPN, Sonny, and they'll be like, Grandpa, VPN? What the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Get
it's
the
like
RJ45, Jack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You gotta put the
Ethernet.
You gotta
You need
literally
cable.
You got to put the tin foil over your head to prevent the stuff from getting in.
Come
Grandpa.
on, man. We need the
I'll be
cable.
like, we invented that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, where's the cable, son? They're like, a cable? What is that? I don't know what that
Put it in the microwave. What's that?
Yeah, exactly. But okay, so I can speak to this a little bit because being involved with a dating platform, a dating app, this is a phenomenon that occurs, and I'll give you guys a little insight into it. There are scammers out there. We have some guardrails in place to hopefully eliminate them as much as possible. So basically, right now it's set up to where if there's a way to report a profile within the app, like if you suspect that it's a fraudulent scam account, you could hit report. And we have it set up to where if there's a certain number of reports, it automatically suspends the account. Potential for review, but it just goes in the dumpster. You're gone. And you can email me to get your account reactivated if you're a real person, but we're erring on the side of getting rid of scammers quickly. And I convinced them to have it set to 2. If you get 2 reports as a scam, then you're gone. If you get 1, every now and then people are kind of immature. And if you say something that offends somebody might report you just to be, you know what I mean? So I said 2. So we're kept the threshold very low. So if you get 2 reports, poof, your profile is suspended. You're gone. And then also, we have it set up now to where some people get pissed at this. There is paid subscriptions. You get 2 free messages a day, 3 free likes a day. Okay. We're going to have ads here soon. So you can watch ads and then you'll get more whatever. But I like this because then it's going to disincentivize scammers because they generally don't like to pay for the app usually. And so there's that. Now it's really funny because for a while there, the way I would start my day each day is I'd go in the admin panel and I would look for the new accounts that registered before we had the auto suspend thing. I would go in and I would look for phone numbers that started with country code 234 and 233. So 233 and 234, which are Ghana and Nigeria. I know it's kind of, everyone hears about the Nigerian prince scam.
That's racist.
It may be
bro.
racist and it may be a little, but no, I swear to God, like 90% of them are coming out of Nigeria and Ghana. It really, truly is true. Not even joking.
The LA mayor was just there, and she took
I
care
know.
of it, bro.
It's
She took care of
Ghana.
it.
It's Ghana and Nigeria. So I can tell you that 100% fact. And so what we did last week is we just removed the app from Nigeria and Ghana. Sorry.
Unjected.com refuses their
Yep.
service.
You lost your privileges. So we're working very hard to make sure that there's no scammers on Unjected, but every now and then one sneaks through. So report them and they will go away. So there you go. But it is a phenomenon, dude. And I have had people contact us and say I was scammed by this person. And one of the things we want to do, I've been talking to Shelby about this, maybe something we can team up with here, but we want to put on a course for dating. Like a guy's perspective, a girl's perspective. We want to do a paid course Like, I think that'd be a really, because I have a ton of insight.
If you're going to do that, you might consider a free lead magnet
I know,
prerequisite.
Exactly.
As far as like what a man can do to make himself date ready for the market.
You'd be so proud because
go get some interesting shit to do. Make yourself an interesting person, and people will be interested.
Yes, dude, that's what I was telling her. I'm like, well, you'd be proud because that's what I was telling her. I was like, we need to do like a free seminar, like a lead magnet, get people in the door. And we already have a huge email list. Like, we have a massive email list. And so it's like we have pieces of the puzzle in place and it's just executing. But anyway, that's something we're talking about. Like, yeah, I had a guy the other day who wanted to report a hate speech. He wanted to report hate speech on the app.
He's on the wrong platform.
But listen, he took a screenshot of the conversation, and he's a slightly older gentleman approaching a very attractive young woman. Okay, age gap. Not necessarily like out of the ballpark, out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
But within the first couple messages, literally saying, "So do you like? What is your love language? Do you like touching and cuddling?" And she was like, "Bro, why do you have to say touching and cuddling like right away?" And then he emailed me saying that's hate speech. He's like, obviously one of the love languages is touching and cuddling. And so my response to him was literally like, I can read it for you guys because it's freaking hilarious. So this is unjected customer support right here. And then he came at me because he was very offended that I was calling him out. And I said, I apologize for calling you bros. I would never use that honorific in real life. You are correct. He said, I'm not your bro. Like, I'm just giving you advice. You need to be an alpha male in this world, especially when approaching younger, attractive females. The only thing that matters is that you demonstrate what you can provide for her and that you're a fearless leader. There's no such thing as this. Oh, and he said, you're violating my safe place. I said, there's no such thing as a safe place in reality, homie. When you try to there's no safe place when you set yourself apart with a woman like that. And he said, I was insulting him. So I said, I haven't said a single thing that is insulting to you. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm taking time out of my day to motivate you into stepping up and being a real man, which women are desperate for these days. Don't talk to her about cuddling. Never say touching and cuddling. That's what I said. Anyway, so it's just like, okay,
he does need a dating course. Like
that's what I'm saying. There's so many people, like how to set up your profile, like how to do a good photo, like how to make a bio that it's like these people. I feel bad. A lot of these people don't know how to sell themselves.
That's a problem out there. Not knowing how to make your offer to the market is a problem in a variety of ways for people.
Exactly.
And if you didn't bring examples like that, I guess it's like, you take it for granted because you don't think about the struggle that obviously people like that are in. Yeah. That's a struggle situation.
So
you don't
anyway,
need to make it a struggle session. You can learn your way out of that shit, but
you can. Yeah, exactly.
You need a safe space. Go to Yale, go to Stanford. They got safe spaces all over the communist country.
Yeah, dude, like this is unjected. There's no safe spaces on unjected, dude. These are the
people that refused the safe space of the vaccine.
Yes, these are the people. These are the savages. These are the last ones left on the island, dude.
Let me know when you're ready for advertisers over there, because Autonomy will advertise over there in front of those people who refused $1 trillion in MK Ultra mass marketing for the gene therapy.
100%.
Those are people that we need getting this type of education.
Totally. We're hoping ads will go live in the next week. And I'll definitely touch base with you. So,
all right, good. Last week we talked about, speaking of getting duped with AI and things like that. Shawn Ryan had the alleged.
Rich, can I say one more thing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna dip out though. If that's
for
cool
sure.
Too. Yeah. I'm gonna bounce.
Go do your
thing. I gotta go put my life. I gotta get up first thing in the morning and put my life back together.
Get your rental car.
So, yeah, I gotta go handle business. So, but much love to all you guys. So on the screen it says libertylinks.io/rebunked. I was just informed today that libertylinks.io is defunct, no longer there. So great. Everything I've ever posted that has my link tree is now no longer valid. So for now, rebunkedrecords.com. I'm to get with Martin with updating the little thingamajigger, but rebunkedrecords.com. You get links to everything else. Much love, all you guys. So grateful to be alive and here with you to fight the New World Order.
I'm glad you're in one piece.
Yeah, I'm good, dude. We're all good. Thank you, guys.
Get some rest because it's going to be a big news week coming up.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'll see you guys on the other side.
All right, peace.
All right, peace
Parachute safely out.
Yeah, later.
All right, LD, it's you and me. All right, so we showed the Shawn Ryan clip with Sam Shoemate, and he said this is the email from the Cybertruck dude, and then people called them liars, and then the intelligence agencies and the FBI are like, no, that's a real email. And then I saw something this past week I didn't think I was going to see. I saw some people questioning the veracity of Shawn Ryan's position on the field as far as a media distribution outlet that came out of nowhere and interviews all these special forces people, and Jane Doe is going to tell you about the Al-Qaeda coming after you, right? Like, I've had questions, but I didn't have evidence. The person who's asking these questions is Matt Kim. He's a friend of Shawn Ryan. He knows Shawn Ryan. So when this is Jameson's travels, he comments, he may be like ex-Army Special Forces type of thing. We've showed clips from Jameson's travels before regarding various topics. So he was watching this Matt Kim interview where they start questioning the veracity of Shawn Ryan. So I do have where I saw it first, and then I saw the source clip. So there's a little bit of redundancy, but not too much. So if we're interested enough after watching Jameson's travels. Now, the other part about the Jameson's travels clip is he talks about Max Blumenthal, who on this show, with respect to his coverage on Israel, has a lot of veracity to his claims and a lot of substance to his claims. However, Max is like a communist, socialist, you know, there's some other aspect of his portfolio that I would not totally support. And so Jameson, who doesn't, like, he's basically on the same side as Tim Pool and Crowder, where they don't see any history of Israel. They just see people being mean to Israel, so therefore defend Israel without asking any questions, right? So that's where he and I would have a disagreement in this clip, but we're all free to disagree because we live in America and we still have that freedom among us. So we're going to go ahead and take a look. I'm not saying because you hear these claims that Shawn Ryan is not other than what he presents himself as. However, as a former CIA contractor, narco terrorist type of person, because he ran a drug network, I should be, you know, with a grain of salt, maybe we have a question mark there and not a period, and keep our eyes open and stay vigilant, stay frosty. So let's go to Jameson's travels, looking at Matt Kim and through the eyes of Max Blumenthal. We're looking at Shawn Ryan through the eyes of Max Kim Max Blumenthal and Matt Kim. There we go. Did it.
MAGA is going to be played to make Israel great again.
What if all of them are just part of the game?
Wow.
So 2 points.
Look at what Shawn Ryan said he did before he blew up. He said that he was a drug trafficker. Ryan's like, we have the most badass warriors on this show every week. Yeah, well, I think it's really important to expose this fraudulent CIA-adjacent podcast.
What we are living in today, the Lex Friedman, the Joe Rogan, the Shawn Ryan, what if all of them were just part of the game? That's all I'm saying. What if all of them are just part of the game?
I've gotten to know Shawn pretty well.
Maybe you got played, bro.
All right, this is getting dicey, my friends. Matt Kim, who's friends with Shawn Ryan, Max Blumenthal, who's a leftist, coming out saying, so many words, is Shawn Ryan's podcast just a CIA, jam it down your head, believe it, or else deal? I mean, what do you, let's go, let's take a gander.
We exchange children's pictures, etc.
Watch this. I mean, this is the fakest thing I've ever seen.
There's no difference between Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Their ideology is identical. They're two sides of the same coin.
That Shawn Ryan did after he went in hiding to avoid accountability for what he did before with the manifesto and the hidden email. He says we only allow pros in here. We're not allowing just trolls. We're only allowing and it's just a bunch of veterans and former contractors talking about how their buddies in this 3-letter agency told them about this or that threat, and it's coming down the pike.
Veteran biker turned me on to this. It's a fucking interesting timeline. These guys are pissed because they are journalists. They don't like Shawn Ryan's work, and they're leftist. I mean, look at the history of Max Blumenthal. His dad was in the Clinton administration. Not sure if he gets all the Matt Kim, sorry. I'll link to it. He's pretty fair-minded. He's friends with Shawn. Is he CIA? It's an interesting take. I mean, golly, because Shawn went from, remember, anti-gravitic drones, CCP, launched from submarines, real email, to Romania, I'm stopping World War III in NATO. Now that we're on to NATO, Romania now, right? I'm just trying to keep up as a consumer. I'm like you. I'm not SF, I'm not Green Beret Bro. I'm not on the spaces. I don't know anything about that. I'm just a dude playing a dude, doing a dude.
That's all they do, and no one holds each other accountable because they're all in on the same grift. But it's very consequential because you have a traumatized audience who are being told to call their congressman and freak out.
They're harnessing the QAnon level of analytical depth, which is what I think Shawn Ryan's audience is.
I have an awesome deal for you guys. Response Attack Right are offering what they claim to be military-grade night vision at an incredible price today.
That includes people who are in the
Jamesons.
It's really lowest common denominator. That includes people who are in the service, by the way.
Got it. So everyone who watches Shawn Ryan is a troglodyte moron, and these guys know better. When you've been lied to so much by our own government, you go, this could be 51 intel experts, a laptop, weapons of mass destruction. Then you ask questions, and they go, shut up, QAnon.
Shawn Ryan's like, we have the most badass warriors on this show every week. We got a guy from Afghanistan who's going to tell you what's really going on.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are so desperate to be back in work again because a lot of these people made all their bank during the war on terror.
Let me get this right. So what they're saying is that Shawn Ryan, the crew around him, all the experts on the Twitter space, are part of the war machine. Now, Shawn took the email, ran with it, was the truth, and now it's been proven not to be anti-gravitic drones, or at least that's the story. Right? FBI confirmed email. Let's just go with that. He's off it now, Romania. So did this ruin Shawn's credibility, or is it a reason for mainstream media? There's a question for you. Is it a reason for mainstream media to attack the podcast sphere? And these guys are part of it? I think the answer is yes, right? We can't have Shawn having this much influence. Who's we? The big apparatus mainstream media can't have Shawn and Rogan, all these people having this much influence, can they? No, absolutely not.
Guys in that community are talking up Afghanistan.
Yeah, well, I think it's really important to expose this fraudulent CIA-adjacent podcast because it really shows us where things are going under Trump.
Right now we're funneling money into Ukraine and a proxy war against Russia. I mean, Biden, right? Throwing money at it. These guys are saying that Trump wants to gin up war against Afghanistan. You pick it. Am I saying Trump's to do that? We don't know what he's going to do in this term. Let's be clear on that. We have no idea. You can have guys wanting to gin it up. Doesn't mean Trump's going to push it. That we don't know. So these dick faces don't know what they're talking about, or they're just alleging, right?
So this show is like one of the top psyops, and they had Pete Hegseth on, the incoming defense secretary, if he gets confirmed. They had him on recently to rant against DEI in the military. They're close.
So they're saying Shawn Ryan's show is a psyop. Is Shawn actively participating in their terms, their words, by the psyop? I don't think so. Could he be taking the bait and going on the path? I guess, right? I mean, what the hell's going on here?
To the possible next defense secretary, and they're running this giant propaganda ploy for a new war on terror, and they are complete fraudsters to the point where I would even question what this lady actually did in the CIA.
This is a game, Jane.
Look at what Shawn Ryan said he did before he blew up. He said that he was a drug trafficker.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Former SEAL said he was a drug trafficker. He was on Megyn Kelly's show. I built quite the drug trafficking network down there in Colombia, he said. I got tipped off that federal police, I should say it in his voice, I got tipped off that federal police were surveilling me, so I abruptly left the country. And then he talks about how he was like geeking out on whatever he could put up his nose, Valium, Xanax, Loperidone, Ambien,
my chair with me in it?
Hydrocodone, Oxycontin, Tramadol, whatever.
This Max is a reporter, can't speak well. He actually referred to Shawn as a Green Beret at one point.
Washed down to shut the brain down. And then he became like a major drug trafficker. And now he's back and he's like this Trump ally, CIA adjacent, #1 podcaster in America who somehow gets to finesse the manifesto of the Cybertruck bomber out to the public without providing the actual email or any metadata. What we've been talking about for the last hour and 15 minutes is how MAGA is going to be played to make Israel great again, bring in a new war on terror, and usher in a techno-feudal oligarchy. And that's why I wanted to talk about this with you.
Wow. MAGA is going to be played for Israel, techno-feudal oligarchy. I don't know. Some of the points on both, we'll get to Matt Kim in a minute. you could agree with this guy, the take here from this guy works at BuzzFeed, Max, New York Times. You know, he's a leftist, of course. Some of the takes are interesting. Let's call it that. The drug network, I guess we don't talk about that. No one does. It's odd to admit that, right? Would you ever admit that? I sure as fuck wouldn't.
Our friend, Shawn Ryan.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. Let's talk about it.
Disclaimer. I know Shawn. We've met Shawn.
Yeah.
I know Shawn extremely well.
Yeah.
It's a person I trust. I think he's an honest, genuine person.
Okay.
He could be CIA plant. And just hear me out. Those guys are trained to lie, man. They're trained to live a life that is completely, somehow, completely disconnected from reality. And
I think these guys are mixing and matching a little bit. He's not a CIA officer. He didn't go to the farm. He was GRS, so a contractor protecting CIA officers in Yemen, I understand it, Afghanistan, right? So I don't know that he's Jason Bourne trained. That doesn't mean, maybe I'm not missing something, obviously. I'm not a podcaster, so, but let's keep going.
they are able to somehow deal with the dissonance of this abstraction of who they really are and be able to keep that front with such consistency that you would never know the deeper seated. He's a psyop himself. He's a plant. He's controlled opposition. I'm not saying any of that. Okay. All I'm saying is we do know one fact to be true. He was ex-CIA. Fact. So, if we go on that fact alone,
He's a contractor for the CIA, not actual CIA.
Most of them are contractors.
Most of them, yeah. The contractors do all the dirty work in it. They do all that. They all do the wet work in it.
I love all these wet work. I watch too much television, right? That's what it sounds like. All the wet work. I mean, Shawn, let's be clear. Shawn's job was to protect a CIA safe house for CIA officers. That was his job, unless I'm missing something. Maybe there's something else that I'm missing beyond that.
So could it not be that years ago, maybe a decade ago, they
got tapped on the shoulder?
CNN's dying, mainstream media is dying. We see the rise of these Rogan-esque type of personalities, right? Daily Wire's coming into itself, right? We saw these alternative. We saw Louder with Crowder, right? Things were moving a decade ago, right? They were just started, and man, the amount of planning. I would not put it behind the mat that what we are living in today, the Lex Friedman.
Why wouldn't they do it? Who's they, to be specific? The elite class, leadership class. They're referring to the CIA, but why wouldn't they do it? Was it Operation Mockingbird? All the IC community inside of Hollywood, the media. Why wouldn't they go after podcasters, up-and-comers? Of course they would. I don't think this is a reach. I'm not trying to be Captain Obvious, but of course they would do it. But does that mean Shawn Ryan's who they did it to?
The Joe Rogan, the Shawn Ryan.
Right.
What if all of them were just part of the game? That's all I'm saying.
I love that.
What if all of them are just part of the game?
Wow.
So 2 points. One is that I've gotten to know Shawn pretty well. We exchange children's pictures, etc. So if he is a CIA plant, then I am a mark. And
no, you'd be a CIA asset. So what do you? This is a good podcast. These two guys, it's interesting. It's fanciful. It's good entertainment. Everybody could be CIA at this point based on what I'm seeing in the news. Do people want to control the news, what's presented? I mean, Shawn's video with Sam Shoemate goes nowhere unless YouTube allows it, right? They promote it. That's how this works. Does that mean he's CIA? No. But YouTube definitely pushed it. It's one of his better videos, a top 5 in history, Shawn's channel. Does that mean anything? No, it's just promoted by the algorithm.
And I'd be pretty upset about that.
Well,
because I've gotten to know him really well.
Yeah, as you should be, though. And I'm not trying to espouse any fake emotions here, but like you, maybe you got played, bro. I mean, let's do another example. Let's do 2 more.
Okay.
You went and saw Andrew Tate.
Well, that's all I was gonna say. Andrew Tate, father was with the CIA.
I'm so bad to say it, bro.
A guy that we've known very well.
Right.
Tucker Carlson. I was the second. Father worked for the CIA. Another guy we know very well.
And another one.
Shawn Ryan literally worked for the CIA. A guy we know very well. Shawn Ryan gets this letter, and then on Sunday he holds his spaces on X, and they have all these experts come onto the spaces, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this.
I didn't find many experts in the spaces. I listened to the 2 hours. And Matt's got a good point here. I'll shut up here in a second. Experts in what? Alpha's Matt Livelsberger's friend. I go, okay. We had the FBI person, useful. Everybody else, I don't know if they add any value to the space.
To tell what's going on. And they spend 2 hours talking about their credentials and why they're important. And why they believe that this letter is real and what's going on. They did not talk one time about these drones coming out of the water and that are going to attack everyone that has 0-point energy and has anti-gravity technology. They don't talk about it one time.
What a letdown.
And I'm thinking, like, that's actually the most important part of that letter, the most interesting part of the letter.
Yeah, because in the letter, he's basically saying that we have been compromised. Our security apparatus has been completely compromised.
So I'm thinking, what was the point of this spaces? What's actually the point of them proving that this letter is real? To say that we talked to the terrorist? Or we talked to him, or he's not a terrorist? Like, that's actually the least important part.
Now, Matt Kim here. His podcast is pretty good on this. You may disagree, but I thought that was interesting. The content of the letter was misinterpreted, right? I mean, I think we all can admit now that Matthew Livelsberger had a mental breakdown and whacked himself. That'd be the obvious. 10 out of 10 people would say, yeah, that's probably what happened, not the drones flying over the White House and a payload shit. Check out these podcasts. Link below. The Max Blumenthal, Matt Kim, veteran biker, gave me the links for this. He turned me on to this. Is Shawn moved on. Shawn pivoted. He's in Romania. Went down there, saving us from war.
All right, so the Matt Kim clip is like 18 minutes if you want to check that out. It's on the YouTube for you to check out, but we can't fit it in this time capsule because we got too much news to get to and too little time to do it. But I did have this note. I've never met Shawn Ryan, so I don't really know. However, from describing the history that those guys are talking about, there's a bunch of inaccuracies. Jameson's Travels pointed out, like, Shawn's a former Navy SEAL who then worked CIA for GRS. If you don't know what GRS is, you could go watch, what's the good movie reference? 13 Hours, the Siege of Benghazi. That consulate, that ambassador, they're being protected by GRS, and they had a quick response team. And so you can kind of see how that works, right? Now add to that. So he's covering CIA operatives who are actual spies doing spy work. Shawn's a sniper. So how much training does a Navy SEAL sniper get in close-up infiltration, all these sort of things, right? So I would say that's a green check over here for Shawn, and those guys are inaccurate. However, if you take the wider context, I have it on good sources that along with the gifts that he gives to every guest comes rosary beads, right? And LD had pointed out this article where, you know, he found God. Shawn found God and he got away from the drug traffickers, right? And doing that type of situation. And along with finding God, his God brand is with the Pope, right? So if you've got someone who's got an allegiance to the Vatican, an international globalist entity, and is now doing God's work, maybe there's additional training that comes with that. I don't know, right? But I do see, who's the Department of Defense guy now? Hegseth? He's all Christian secret society up. You ever see his tattoos? He's got like Knights Templar crosses and stuff like that. So a religio-political aspect that's not really supposed to have influence on our government too much, seems to be prevalent with the deep state and the activities. So I'd say it remains to be seen, but those were interesting questions to be asked, and maybe we learn more as we go along now that we're looking at the clues, right? What do you think, LD?
Yeah, I was sharing with you my thoughts on that article. I was wrong because I was saying if you read the headline, then the body didn't really back it up. I was wrong, but I found it interesting that it talks about him getting addicted. Like, he was obviously drawn to the allure of deception and fitting into the world of drug trafficking cartels in Colombia. So I thought that's interesting if you put it in the context of
Iran-Contra, BCCI.
Well, that, or slotting in a different context, deception, perhaps. Yeah, in the media space, for instance.
Who was the guy from London Real? Because he kind of
Brian
disappeared.
Rose.
Yeah, he disappeared from the scene, and it seemed like Shawn Ryan slid right in with the same kind of 2-chair setup. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into set prep. But when I saw his set, I was like, oh, this is like the American version of London Real.
Perhaps.
Anyway, maybe not. I could always end it. It's good to do like the Italian thing. After you say something with certainty, you say, but what do I know?
Right.
This next block, we're going to get to, we just heard about Cybertruck for the first time in this week's news. We do have a Cybertruck story follow-up. But first, before we can see that, I want to go to this Phil Labonte clip from Timcast. FBI uses undercover agents to persuade them into terrorism. It's ties back into our Terror Factory episode from a couple weeks ago. And then we have this Cybertruck story. Cybertruck bomber's wife blows case wide open. I think you should hear what she has to say here. And then we will get to change gears, and we'll get to the California wildfire updates for this week because it's still going on. All right, let's go to Culture War, Phil Labonte.
It's become a meme that the FBI, like
he was on our radar.
Yeah, he was on our radar. That's become a joke.
If you look at the terror cases that the FBI has been making, they almost 100% involve inserting an undercover and saying, "Oh, we can get access to weapons. We can get access." We had a case in Boston, and NDA prohibited from going into details, but a guy who was going to attack the Pentagon. He actually went to high school with a woman who worked for me, who's now a special agent in Boston. He was going to use model airplanes and attach explosives to them and fly them into the Pentagon. And I can't remember the guy's name, and I probably shouldn't say it out loud anyway. He's in jail today. This guy couldn't back a car down the driveway, let alone build the kind of model airplane sizes, acquire those. He didn't have the finances. He didn't have the training. But in comes the FBI, and we'll just move this guy along into an operational level. Now, Kyle had brought up earlier about Operation, what was it, Kyle?
Operation Flex. Is this the guy that I'm looking at here? It says Massachusetts man charged with plotting attack on Pentagon and U.S. Capitol, attempting to provide material support of TOs. 2011, just so people can get the time frame on it.
So
his name's out there in the public.
So
Firdas,
yes. So if we had a better relationship with the Islamic community, we would take people like Firdaus and have them get exposure to the kind of person that I had exposure to, an Islamic scholar who can actually explain the faith to them. But instead, the FBI sees it as an opportunity to claim a stat, to claim more funding, to claim more usurpations of people's constitutional rights. And we see this exclusively in the news coming out every day. And it's almost at a point where they don't make any effort to hide it. Like, oh, we had a UC here, we had this covered, blah, 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 blah. I mean, when have we seen a terrorist attack disrupted because of a FISA? Never. It's always been after the fact, but yet we continue to renew it.
It's become a meme that the FBI, like
he was on our radar.
Yeah, he was on our radar. That's become a joke now.
That's essentially meaningless. Look, right out, I'm looking at this press release because it's always in these things. This is what I do now instinctively, and I'll teach the audience to do the same thing. When you see the concept, the FBI used an undercover operation to conduct this investigation. Undercover operations are used to combat all kinds of crimes and criminals, including counterterrorism. When you see that they flagged that there was a UC involved, okay, and the FBI has two ways that they can move people in. You always hear the word Fed. In fact, I hear it all the time. Yeah. Now I walk down the airline aisles, and on the left-hand side, it says 11, 12, 13, and it says FED for the seat numbers. And I'm like, come on, give me a break. No, but the idea that everybody is a Fed, we have to be really specific. Some of them are called confidential human sources. That's what the Bureau uses for source work.
Which is what they were talking about. They were talking about those were confidential human informants. They were on the ground on January 6th.
They were, but I'll get real specific about it, because that OIG report said a lot of things and it didn't say a lot of things, and most people didn't read the right stuff, especially people that don't know what the FBI means. CHS is a very specific type of person. That's your informant that most people are familiar with.
They get paid.
Undercover, UC. That's another thing. That's an FBI agent working in an undercover role. It's usually nominally backstop. Some of them do long term, but a lot of them are just like for operation only. It's like, hey, Phil, I'm going to need you over here. We're going to send you up to Portland. You're going to go meet some people, grow your beard out a little bit. You're going to go talk to them. You're there for a couple of months and then you're out. It's not like you live in the thing like they were doing long term infills in the mafia. They don't do that as much anymore. Okay, but here's the wild piece. That's UC. That's a brand name. Imagine that as saying like, oh, did you have any soldiers there? And you're like, there were no infantrymen there at all. Yep. And you're like, well, what about guys from the mortar platoon? Like, what about dudes that were in armor? Yep. So we're saying one thing. They said there were no UCs involved in the crowd, but that didn't mean that there weren't plainclothes FBI agents. Yep. I walked around in crowds all the time in my job. I was a surveillance guy. On purpose, I would walk like this, okay? I wasn't undercover. The FBI would say we had no UCs in there, but Kyle Seraphin was one of our agents and he was plainclothes. Yeah. They said things without saying things when you read that OIG report about J6. But this gets to a very specific point. When we're talking about undercover operations, I call it the playbook. My buddies and I have kind of just made this as a joke. If people want to read a good book on it by someone on the political left, by the way, it's Trevor Aronson. You go read the book. It's called The Terror Factory. My folks that did surveillance on CT targets, counterterrorism, said this is mandatory reading because this is what the FBI does. It's very, very simple. George can back this up on as well. We find somebody on the internet. You're on a Reddit chat group. You're on a comments. You're on a regular podcast, and you always say the same things. You have the dumbest, most violent ideas in the group. The FBI is going to come and make friends with you. You're a person who doesn't have a lot of friends in real life, let's say. They are going to help you do your dumbest, most dangerous, most violent ideas. For the exact amount of money that you have, that person is a Fed. Now, they're going to be a CHS. They're going to be an undercover. They could be various things. They have a thing called a UCE. That's an or an OCE. It's an online covert employee. So they can do that. They don't have to even be an agent. They will set you up with the thing you need. They will hook you up with people in real life. You'll meet IRL. You'll get to go out there and do the thing that you need to do. You're going to get fake explosives. You're going to get a gun that has no firing pin. You're going to go out there. The minute you touch it, you're going to jail for 20 to life. So this is a playbook that they exercise. The problem with intelligence, and I've noticed that we've got kind of our thing, like what's the threat? We've got Sarah Adams talking about invisible bombs, people that are wearing, bombs that they can make it through a metal detector. We're hearing all these claims. We don't have good intelligence overseas. We betrayed our allies over there by pulling out of Afghanistan. So the Afghan source network disappeared. People who saw what happened to the sources in Afghanistan that got killed off, they don't want to be part of us either. So we lose intelligence in all of the places where we used to have visibility. We screwed it up domestically because we've done things like piss off the Muslim community starting back in 06, 07, 08. They've gone through and the Supreme Court said, yeah, they can do that. So you've burned your domestic route that's going to maybe flag extremism. Flag terrorists that are domestically locating that don't like the United States. So your HVE visibility goes down. So now you start flying blind, and then we brought in 10 million people, or however many. We know 100,000 Afghans. We know however many came over the southern border. Million. Look, if you can smuggle a person, you can smuggle all kinds of things. There have been stories about whether or not they were, manpower, like man-pads, and they had, surface-to-air missile capabilities. Is that a possibility? Of course, because you can a human being. If you can move up like a trailer full of human beings, what can you fit in a cargo trailer? Yep. How many do you have to move across the border to not get caught? If we catch, they say they catch 30% at best. So 60%, 70% are running through. That's where the real threat comes in. 30%. And we're running blind. We're running blind on this stuff. So the intelligence failure is one thing. The fact that the FBI is interested in going after this setup job, which is what they are. And again, it's a terror factory. It's a numbers game. George can break down what IPM is. Everybody thinks it's because they're looking at one thing because they think a lot of things, but they don't know what it is. They think they're going after all these folks because it's about ideology. Oh, we're going to get the right-wing extremists. We're going to get Kyle because he's got an AR-15 on his shirt. That's the guy. We're going to go knock them down. We're going to get the MAGA people. Mm-hmm. This is not where the threat, and that's not why they're going after them. They're going after the low-hanging fruit because of a thing called IPM, which is the most bureaucratic and lame way of anything done, but it's perfect government if you want to break it down because people should know. George.
I'll try to make it, I'm going to break it down Marine Corps style, just crayon eating, jarhead. It is a system that was developed by McKinsey and Company that was brought in by Bob Mueller. He first tried to emulate what New York was doing. All these shenanigans started right after 9/11. So they decided that, okay, how are we going to determine whether or not we're really doing our job to keep the country safe? So the FBI determined these are the performance metrics we determine. These are the performance metrics that we say that we're going to hit in order to reduce crime and reduce terrorism. So if we were all sitting in a room at headquarters and we would just say, hey, Phil, what do you think, how many FISAs do you think we need to have in order to mitigate the threat from Iranian-based terrorist groups? We had 3 last year, right? You think we can do 4 this year? Yeah, I think we can do 4. I think we can do that, right? So, how many UCs do we need? Well, we only had 2 last year, and that was tough. I don't think we can get more than 2. Well, George, how many Intel products do you think we can write on this? That's easy. We have access to data warehouse now. We can write Intel products all day long. All right, good. We're going to put you down for 15. Not a problem, boss. We can do easy. So we set out these metrics at the beginning of the year, and then we exceed them at the end of the year because we decide what's a stat and what's not a stat, and we hand out awards and promotions. So
there's one more piece to it.
But wait,
your bonus structure is going to be relevant. It's going to be related to how many of those metrics that you forecasted at the beginning of the year. It's going to be how much you get. And those bonuses are like 5 figures. They're, $25, $30 to $50,000, whatever it may be, depending at the level of SES. So this is your quote unquote deep state, your administrative state.
Yep.
These are the people that run field offices. For their success, they negotiate a process. Because let's say I'm in the field office and George is saying, hey, we need 15 Intel products. And I take it to my Intel shop and I go, hey, can we do 15? And they're like, oh man, we just lost 3 people and we're in the middle of a hiring. We can only do 13. So I come back and say 13 and they go, how about 14? And we settle on 14. Yeah. Then I'm going to go get 14. That's literally how crazy this is. And then as long as I get those 14 as the executive over here, I'm getting paid.
Thanks for watching this clip from the... There's something very fishy going on here. And I think I even have a feeling that this video isn't going to get the interest that a lot of the other videos that I do on this channel will, because the world has moved on from Matthew Livelsberger and the incident that happened at Trump Tower with, I don't know why, but it's just the way the world works. Everyone's basically moved on what happened in NOLA too. But this new information is very, very, how do I say this? It doesn't go with the same, doesn't follow what we've been told. What we've been told is, hey, this guy was a man on the brink. He had a new baby, and then he had paternity test stuff, and it wasn't his, and all this kind of stuff. Well, that does not seem to be the case, unless everybody's just lying, which I tend to believe his wife more than I believe what's going on around the internet. And, maybe some people might rightfully be looking at this with some level of, skepticism, but something's wrong. We were told that there were all sorts of rumors and lies and things like that told about him. Well, let's get into what's new now. His wife speaks out, hits rumors and lies. The wife of Army Master Sergeant Matthew Livelsberger, the Green Beret involved in the Las Vegas incident, broke her silence on Sunday in a statement put out by a fellow Green Beret veteran. In her statement, she hit back against what she says has been misinformation and lies spread about her and her ex-husband, or husband, now deceased, that they were having marital problems and that she kicked him out of their home before Christmas. She specifically slammed a rumor spread by the Chief of Staff of the Army's Public Affairs Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Dave Butler, that their newborn daughter's DNA did not match his. That is a huge linchpin in this story. The story was that, this is a guy that was at his, he had just found out his kid wasn't his. That's why he did what he did. Apparently, one of two things is true if she's telling the truth. Either that wasn't him in the truck, or they lied about the kid. She writes, my name is Jennifer Davis. Actually, they have she writes, This is her proof statement. My name is Jennifer Davis, the widow of Matthew Livelsberger. I have kept silent until now because I, like all of you, have been in a state of pure shock and denial. The only reason I have decided to break my silence is because I know I owe it to our daughter. In our world of endless internet opinions, our daughter needs a post somewhere that speaks the truth about her father. The truth is that we were Matt's entire world. He loved being a father. We shared our very first Christmas as parents together with our beautiful daughter this year. The way that he adored his daughter, something so unexplainably beautiful. The way he cared and attended to me, to my every need, before I could even think or ask, was just of his endless qualities that have already been birthed so many tears of mine in his absence. He loved us both dearly and deeply. He was selfless and thoughtful. He shielded us and protected us to the very end. My husband's military career and service is and was exemplary and speaks for itself. He was a dedicated soldier, loved his family, loved his brotherhood with every ounce of his being. Matt was a hero among men who dedicated their whole life to serving our country and will be remembered as such. I want to clearly and directly address several pieces of misinformation that have been released about my husband and family. First and foremost, with so many dreams, first and foremost, Matt and I were in love and committed to our marriage. We have plans and a future with so many dreams that now will just be a memory to seal for our daughter. Matt was not only excited about our future together, but his future of a career and his new job that he had started. And in no uncertain terms, did we have any plans or intentions of breaking up or separating? And in no uncertain terms did we have plans or intentions of breaking up or separating. Additionally, the paternity of our daughter was never in question and clearly was not an issue in our marriage. I hate to even have to clarify that fact, as I find that lie personally slanderous and offensive. I want to be clear, for my daughter's sake, the DNA was pulled and verified as a match. Why would you do a DNA test? Look, I'm believing everything she's saying at point or at face value, but I will point out that some people might say, why would you do a DNA test? That's a fair question. But I digress. I sit here today still in the unknown. Losing my husband has been the most devastating event of my life. Knowing my daughter's life will never be the same. We'll never even know her father is more than I can process, as I imagine. The added complexity and public nature of this adds a level of pain and stress that no one can prepare you for. I sit here today still in the unknown, wishing so badly I could go back to our wonderful first and last Christmas that we shared together. As the days have passed, I still do not have answers to what so many of you are looking for. I am desperately searching for them as well. I mean, several news outlets, such as the New York Post, had published anonymously sourced rumors that they were having marital problems. Navy SEAL veteran and podcaster Shawn Ryan on his show revealed that Butler, the Army Public Affairs officer, had said in a private conversation that Livelsberger's child DNA did not match his. Ryan's lawyer, Tom Parlatori, later described his conversation with Butler in detail in an X-Space conversation, calling it one of the weirdest conversations that I've ever heard with a public affairs officer. Parlatori said of the DNA rumor. So that was something. That was a very odd statement to me, because he was telling me what a wonderful soldier he was. I kind of said, so what do you think it was? He said, I don't want to speculate, but that there might have been problems with his family, and and then he tells me the story, when they got the FBI, they identified the body to get a DNA match. They went to his closet next of kin, which was the closest next of kin, which was his infant child, and the DNA did not match, and so they were speculating. Very, very weird. Now, Tardillo said in a statement to Breitbart News, after speaking with Jennifer, I was deeply troubled.
So you heard her statement. It contradicts a lot of what we've put in the time capsule as the official narrative. and we will continue to learn more on that topic. But unfortunately, for time's sake, we got to move on because we didn't even get to the LA fires yet, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that ties in. So we'll take it one step at a time.
Twice a year, I teach a course called Autonomy. It's a 12-week course. It teaches leadership, entrepreneur skills, executive skills, all these types of things that I saw were taken out of our education system in order to make the schooling or indoctrination system that we've all probably went through. And it has served us well enough to be interchangeable cogs in the machine of the globalists. But if we want a homestead, if we want write our own ticket, work from home job, work from anywhere type of situation, they're not exactly handing those out at the end of college. They give you a piece of paper and they're like, good luck. So reality is dropping us off here, but the demands of reality are up here. So I created Autonomy to help people close that gap for themselves so they can level up their skills to the demands of the situations that life is putting in front of us presently. Life's demands of intellect and understanding precision and complexity are ever increasing. The schooling didn't prepare us for it. The media is not going to do anything but reinforce what schooling prepared us for. And so we're going to have to take a leadership position and take steps off the beaten path to kind of blaze our own trail in life. What makes the Grand Theft World podcast unique, invigorating, exciting, and informative? Most other podcasts out there are either doing straight up interviews or they're just covering the daily news. They're covering current events from the day they happened. And that is effective. It's useful. It's a great starting point. And then sometimes these current events change during the week past the first story. So we like to give it a little time. You have to wait till some of the dust settles on these stories in order to give them accurate coverage. And the other thing that's really missing in the media landscape is covering the articles that are coming out every day. That's great. That's necessary. But who's bringing in contextual history so that you can understand what has been going on for decades and decades to lead up to the machinations and actions that we see unfolding today? So what we do here on the podcast is we cover current events. Many of these things are censored, but we wait about a week. As a forensic historian, I focused mainly through my career on the history of globalism and collectivism and things that they call maybe the New World Order. There's a lot of facts to these sort of circumstances, groups, events, activities, working groups that they've had over time. So for Grand Theft World listeners, we not only break down the current events, most of which that are censored during the week, we provide you with contextual history, we give you the source notes, the references, we do deep dives, and this really empowers you with an understanding of context and history so that you can make more informed decisions in your life. There's also a community, a membership where you guys can actually ask questions and we can get into the show and we can share evidence. And there's a town hall weekly for Grand Theft World for those who listen to it and are interested in covering the stories that we don't get to during a 6-hour show. Listening to it an hour a day, you could easily consume the week's news, but you're going to have substance and meaning and context and understanding. And with that, you can make higher quality decisions in your life. So if you're interested in more quality in your life, go to grandtheftworld.com, click podcast at the top, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
These allegations are false.
This isn't Grand Theft Auto, folks. This isn't a video game.
What are the most surprising things that you discovered once you started pulling on that thread? Who he was connected to, what institutions he was influential over, what events he participated in?
Come on, man. What are we talking about? Come on, man. No.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
I got this quote because you said you didn't know much about Klaus Schwab. I made it my job to, as soon as this happened, I'm like, okay, this guy's their front man. Let me learn about the official history of the World Economic Forum. I got their 40-year history. I got every book that Klaus Schwab has written or ghostwritten. I went through those books. This is one of the most interesting passages.
Come on, man. Come